to start the, okay. Gabriel started the recording, so thank you.
Yes, Hanak, I just began the recording. I hope I did it correctly.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Everyone, these are my colleagues who are supporting the symposium. There are a few more of them. You may be getting emails from several members from UNESCO ICPA regarding your travel. You may be getting emails from the KIX.ICPA at UNESCO email account. And you may also be getting emails from Yvonne, who introduced herself, maybe from Gabriel, who introduced himself, and also from some individuals by the names of Salalish, Tirsit, and Bezuit. They are our administrative superwomen. They support us on all the logistics and the administrative part of the symposium. So you may be getting emails from them, such as your invitation letter, such as your flight information and your visa instructions. So again, their names are Salalish, Bezuit, and Tirsit, and you will probably be getting emails from them today if you haven't already received an email from them. Okay, so we're looking forward to meeting all of you in Abidjan in 2 weeks. Can you please introduce yourself in the chat box to save time? I see that we've already received quite a few introductions in the chat box. So again, welcome to everyone and thank you for being here, for taking out the time. Depending on your time zone, I hope it's not too late for you. We'll try to go quickly and we'll try to make this as informative and as interactive as possible. So today what we're going to do now is we're going to share with you the symposium theme and objectives and show you the website where you can go for further information throughout the symposium preparation period now, and then the symposium days, and even after the symposium. There will be resources there for you to see after the dates of the symposium. Then we'll give an overview of the symposium program, so what you can expect on the 3 days, and what are the types of sessions that you'll be engaging in. And then we'll show you a bit about the roles of moderators and rapporteurs or reporters from the various rooms during the 3 days. Then we'll show you the presentation guidelines. We are advising you to please follow these guidelines when you create your PowerPoint or your poster. And then we'll get into a question and answer session where you can ask any questions that are arising about those areas, the program itself or the presentation guidelines. So, but please do check these documents on your own to see if you can answer your question on your own. After that, then we'll spend the rest of the 2 hours talking about guidelines for travel. So I know that you have many questions about that, and there have been some instructions already. So we're asking you to please to check to see what has already been sent to you and to check the travel guidelines booklet when you're asking your questions. So Gabriel, I'd like to turn it over to you for an overview of the symposium itself. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Marianne. And once again, to reiterate, Marianne, welcome and thank you for joining us today. So Marianne had the screen up earlier, and I'll just provide a brief and quick overview as to the theme of the symposium as well as the objectives. And as I'm sure all of you know, the focus of the second KIX Continental Symposium will be on strengthening data generation and analysis for resilient, inclusive, and better performing education systems in sub-Saharan Africa. And the objectives, as you can see on the screen, are number 1, to give an opportunity for researchers, practitioners, and policymakers to share findings from their respective work. Number 2, to promote learning and dialogue among researchers, practitioners, and policymakers on how to use data to improve educational outcomes. And finally, number 3, to, of course, promote evidence-based policymaking at the country level. And so the website that you see right now is still under development, but we should have it finalized in the coming weeks. And before I hand it back over to Marianne, I also wanted to use this opportunity to flag something that's related to communication. So during the symposium, we'll be conducting interviews just to get to know a little bit more about you, how you got into education. And so we'll be reaching out the next couple of weeks. And so just wanted to flag that. So you can expect an email from me, Marianne, or one of our colleagues. So thank you so much. And I'll hand it back to Marianne.
Thanks, Gabriel. And could you please post the link for that website in the chat box for everyone to see?
Sure.
Thank you. So colleagues, that is the website. And as said, you can check it now and you can check it during the symposium days and you can check it after the symposium too. It's meant to be a public resource on the symposium. Now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Yvonne. Yvonne will be taking us through the general structure of the symposium program. So Yvonne, over to you, and I'll share my screen for you to refer to.
Thank you, Marianne, and I apologize in advance. It seems my video has refused to work. So it is a 3-day program starting on the 3rd of October and ending on the 5th. So the last day will be the Teachers' World Day, and we'll be celebrating together. Basically, each day we'll start with a plenary session. We'll be having at least 6 ministers joining us during the symposium. So day one, as we are all aware, usually we start with welcoming remarks and official opening speeches. So that is what we expect to happen between 9 and 10. For the registration, we've scheduled, as you can see on the agenda, which I'm sure you also received, is from 7:30 to 8:45. This is a bit early, but we are urging all participants to be there so that we can start on time. This is because the program is packed and we could not move that time at any time any later than that. So we urge you to be early so that by 8:45 you will be ready and you will be ready to start. Scroll down, Marianne. Yes, so after the opening speeches and the welcoming remarks, we'll be taking a group photo, and then we'll be having the ministers panel. Like I said, we have 6 ministers. So we are expecting that they will have a discussion, especially around challenges and opportunities in using evidence to improve management and governance. And so again, this will be a plenary session. So we expect everybody to be at the same place. We continue, Marianne. I hope everyone can hear me. Then after the ministerial session or discussion, the roundtable, then we'll have a breakaway session. So most of us will find ourselves in these breakaway sessions. And at any given time, we'll have 4 breakaway rooms. So we will be allocated in either of those 4 rooms. Where during this period, 12 to 1:30, we'll have the 3 sessions, session 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. And it will encourage you that you be ready to participate in these rooms. For example, Emmanuel Yosef, forgive me if I pronounce your name wrongly, we expect that you will be in room 1.1 at least 10 minutes before time. So because there's a break in between, we hope that at least you'll be there so that you are ready to present at that time. And for now, we have not allocated. You can just see hall. We have 4 halls. We have not yet allocated the names, but by the time we share the final agenda, we are hoping that we are confident that we'll have this so that we'll be able to tell exactly which room you're expected to be at any given time. So it is very important that you look and see where you're supposed to be. Next, Marianne. So thank you. So like I said, we have 3 different presentations at any given time in any given room. And we'll have in the 3 presenters, we will have a moderator and we will have a rapporteur or a note taker. So what I will say, because in this meeting we are mixed, we have both our presenters and we have the moderators and rapporteurs. I would add the moderators and rapporteurs to be very keen and to also synthesize whatever will be presented. We will be able to share the abstracts of all these presentations with you in advance. We expect that you will be able to at least synthesize what is happening within the room, and that after the last presenter, that is the third presenter, you'll be able to at least give a summary of the presentations that have taken place, and then you'll be able to set the pace for the discussion. We have a 45-minute discussion, so we expect that at least 10 minutes, the rapporteur and the moderator, that you'll be able to set the pace for that discussion, summarize what has happened, and then lead the discussion session. Something else that you need to note is that these rooms, we will have interpretation in 3 different languages. So we have English, we have French, and we will have Portuguese. And I hope all of us will be able to at least have that in. For those who will be presenting in French, they'll still be translated. Those who will be presenting in English will be able to understand one another. So please, for the moderators and also the rapporteurs, it will be good to get in touch with a fellow person or the fellow discussant in that room, because we'll have either a moderator from Africa 21 or a moderator from Africa 19, and then a rapporteur from the other hub. So it will be good also to touch base before these sessions so that you know exactly who will be in that room. Then you can agree on how to lead the discussion session. And also for the presenters, you be ready to answer questions and also to elaborate where necessary. That is why we're giving a whole 45 minutes, because it's a learning session, and we expect that others will be able to learn from your presentation. So that is for, then we'll have another break. We'll have a lunch break, then we'll have another breakout session between 4:30 between 2:30 and 4 p.m. So again, the structure is as above, so I'm not going to repeat that again, but it will be important that you know which room you are allocated so that you are there early. Miriam, scroll down, please. Thank you. Then at the end of the day, from 4 to 5:30, we'll be having poster presentations. So as you can see, we have 10 posters. The first 10 posters are from Africa 19, which means the presenters are here with us, or at least some of them, some of you are. So there will be a 1.5 hour poster presentation. And shortly, I'll be taking you through what we expect when you are doing your posters. And we'll be expecting that at least you will be there for the 1.5 hours to take the people through. Because we are expecting at least 200 people, sorry. We're expecting at least 200 people. So all 200 of us cannot come and stand at your poster at any one point. So we'll be having groups moving from poster to poster. So we expect you to be there at least for the 1.5 hours for you to be able to present. Next, Miriam. So that will be the end of day 1. We will be ending with the poster, and it is intentional that the poster session goes into the health break as well as the networking. This is because last year we tried to put posters in between, and it was a bit difficult because the discussions were so engaging. It was a bit difficult for people to leave the posters and then go back to the breakaway rooms. So this year we are going to put it such that from the posters, the next will be the health break. So it is very easy for people to just transition from the poster stands to the health break, and also you can continue with those who wish to continue learning even through the coffee break. Next, Miriam. So again, in day 2, we'll have the same structure. We'll start with a round table, and this particular session will basically focus on data production and knowledge sharing for effective information in transformation of education systems, and we'll be focusing mainly on the applied research from the KIX grantees or KIX researchers. So for KIX, I think most of us know by now, or if you have not, you must have Googled. At least we do have the hubs, which basically lean more on knowledge sharing. And then we have the applied research arm. So for this particular day, we'll be having the various partners from the applied research coming to discuss their research, their findings, and also just giving us way forward. And that will be moderated by our project officer from IDRC. That is Trisha. So that is the panel. It was a 75-minute panel. So this again is a plenary session. So everybody is expected to be at the plenary hall at this particular time. Then after that, we will have a health break, which is between 10:30 and 11. And then from there, we'll go into the breakaway session. So I don't think I have to say much here. Again, I just have to emphasize, please be sure to be in your room by at least 10 minutes before the others arrive. Continue, Marianne. I think the structure repeats, so we can just go to day 3. Okay, so on the day 3, that is the October 5th, this is the Teachers' World Day. So we'll start with by celebrating the Teachers' World Day. We're expecting to have to hear the voices of teachers through video recordings from both hubs. And then we'll have a few remarks from selected representatives, as you can see on the screen, and also from the agenda that was shared with you. And after that, we're expecting to have at least a plenary session. So every day, as I said, there's a plenary session where we all come together. And then before we move into our various breakaway session. Next, Miriam, please scroll down. Thank you. So after the first plenary session on this day, we'll actually have another roundtable. This is also a plenary session where we'll get to hear from building, it's called what? Building evidence in education. And then also from the European Union, there's a launch of their regional initiative. And we have other papers that we'll be sharing in this particular roundtable. Again, this is a plenary, so we're expecting that at least all of us will be here. And that will be for 1 hour. Next, Media. So after that, we'll have the health break, and then we will have the roundtables, but this one is a bit different. We are not going to go into the 4 rooms as we did for the first 2 days. For this particular roundtable, we are going to have discussions among researchers. We're going to have discussion among policymakers from Africa 21, and we're going to have discussions among policymakers or policy actors from Africa 19. So this grouping is a bit different from the other 2 days. The other 2 days, you will get to choose whichever room you want to go to, unless you are a presenter. Of course, you have to go to a room that is allocated to you. But for the others, you can choose depending on your interest. But for this particular room, we're expecting that if you are from the country teams, and then you'll join either KIX Africa 2019 room. And if we are a researcher, so a researcher, we are talking of you are from a university, you are from a CSO, you are from the development world, let me put it like that. Then we expect that at least you'll join the researchers in roundtable 3 for the discussions. And we've also shared some of the pointers that you're going to discuss in those specific rooms. So after that, we'll have lunch. Then we'll have a plenary session where we get to hear from the 3 different roundtables, what is coming out of the symposium, and we get to share. So again, the rapporteurs of these 3 rooms will expect that at least you'll be able to give us a summary of what took place in each of these rooms. So it will be very important that at least you take notes and you'll be able to share and adequately represent the room that you are rapporteuring for. Miriam, I think that should bring me to you before the other, yes. Oh, okay, sorry. So then we'll have, after that, the plenary will have the closing message from the symposium organizers. And then we will have the closing ceremony of the workshop. And finally, we'll have a cocktail. So we'll have a networking session just before you depart, the last day between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. So again, we're expecting that at least all of us will be there. Over to you, Marianne. Thank you. Marianne?
Yes, thank you, Yvonne. Thank you for taking us through the program in such a comprehensive way. I hope that it was clear to everyone. And of course, if you have any questions, we would invite you to first look at the program that's been emailed to you. And then if you have further questions to get back to us and then ask us. We probably won't be able to make too many changes to the agenda at this point, such as if you had any requests for anything different in your own presentation. But we encourage you to do your best to be available at the time that's there. But if for some reason you may have a health issue or an emergency in which you must leave the city early, then let us know and we could try to maybe schedule your presentation on a different day. We had to do that in the past. But otherwise, we would expect you, since you are going to be there in the city, in Abidjan, to be present on that day and in your room, ready to give your presentation at least 10 minutes before the session begins. So if you are scheduled after lunch or after the tea break, that does mean that you have to wrap up your tea and your coffee or your cookie or maybe your plate of food a little quickly, and maybe cut your networking conversation a little bit short in order to arrive in your room ahead of time. And one more word about that: you need to be able to operate your own presentation when you're in your room. So you need to be able to know how to operate your own slides if you have a presentation on PowerPoint. We don't know yet if there'll be anybody there to change the slides for you. So just be prepared to change your own slides if you need to. Now, in this part of the meeting, I'm going to share some more information about the roles of moderators and specifically of rapporteurs. These are reporters who will be present in all of the sessions to document and take notes on what is shared and what people are learning about in the session. So allow me to share my screen, and I want to share with you what the reporting form looks like. But before I do that, I want to ask you to raise your hands. Who here, if we have already emailed you, is a session moderator or rapporteur? I see many presenters here, but I'm looking for any moderators or rapporteurs. These are people who we've already emailed and asking you to moderate a session or to report on a session. Maybe you could raise your hands if you have been asked to do this.
Hey, Miriam, this is Anthony.
Yes.
Uh,
Hello,
I
Professor.
have-
How are you?
I'm good. I have my hand raised.
Yes, great, great. So we thank you in advance for serving as a rapporteur. I see another hand from Olufemi. Mr. Olufemi, I believe that you are a researcher. You are a presenter. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, did you have a question?
No. I thought you asked a question if anybody's ready to volunteer as a rapporteur.
Oh, well, thank you. If we need someone, we know we can count on you. Thank you for
Sure,
that
sure.
willingness. I think for right now,
Sure.
we may have all the people that we need. But then again, if we need somebody to step in, we may have to then call on some researchers. And thank you for offering. Okay, colleagues, allow me to share my screen. I want to just spend a minute talking about what the rapporteurs or the reporters will be doing in the rooms. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so in each of the sessions, both the plenary sessions that everyone will be engaging in, and also the the breakaway sessions, but not the poster session. The poster session will not have a rapporteur. So, but in the plenaries and in the breakaway sessions, we're going to have two people helping to guide and to document those presentations. We'll have a moderator in the room who will introduce the presenters and introduce the theme of the session and call on you each to speak, and then take some questions from the audience. So their role is very important, the role of the moderator. And we're going to be communicating more specific guidelines to them over the next few days. Now, if you are a rapporteur, like Professor Anthony, who's with us today, Professor Nadungu from Kenya, then you'll be expected to take on a slightly different role. The rapporteurs are there to help to document and record the learning that takes place, the key ideas that arise, and even some of the key questions or the key takeaways from each session. So we're asking the rapporteurs to write down in this form what they observe, what they hear, and what they see in the sessions that they are assigned to. And then to email this form back to us within 24 hours with their notes on it. So as you can see, there's room here to note down the title of presentations, the countries that are covered by the research, any key information arising. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but just the key points, policy recommendations and conclusions, and any pertinent questions and answers. So the idea behind this form is that then we have a document. We can document and record what is learned and shared. This becomes very important for us after the symposium. So the next day when we try to summarize what was learned on the first day, we can refer to this document. And then 1 week later, we can refer to what was learned and shared at the symposium by referring to this document. So rapporteurs have a very important role. Usually in the sessions, there won't be enough time for the rapporteurs to speak during the sessions and share their observations and takeaways. So they're just an expectation that you email this to us afterwards. But if the session does wrap up a little early, and there is a few minutes at the end of the session in which the questions and answers have subsided or been addressed, then we invite the rapporteurs to step up and to share their observations with the room and to kind of summarize what they had observed in their room for that day. However, there will not be a separate time for the rapporteurs to come back to the main plenary session and report on each of the rooms. There's just too many rooms for that. So we welcome you to be engaged with your room only as a rapporteur, working in cooperation with the moderator and the presenters of that room. Only in certain rooms will rapporteurs come back to share with the main plenary group. And that's on the third day when we have the three separate discussions on policy takeaways that Yvonne just showed you on the last day. In that room, we'll have one room for policy actors and KIX team members from Africa 19 from our hub, a separate room for the same people from Africa 21, and then a separate room for the researchers. In all of those three rooms, those rapporteurs will document the discussion and then present the takeaways from that discussion that they observed in the plenary at the final hour of the symposium. So that's the only time in which we are asking the rapporteurs to speak or to share what happened in the rooms that they're reporting on. Okay, so I'll stop there. And let me turn it over to my colleague Yvonne again. Yvonne is going to go over some presentation guidelines for all of you, which most of you here are presenters, so it should be useful to you. Over to you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Marianne. I trust you're going to share. Could you please put it in full screen and then you scroll? Okay, so.
Yes, sorry, 1 minute, Yvonne. I had many documents open. 1 second.
Thank you, Marianne. So I do believe that this has also been shared with all of us, and we have had time to go through it. So this is the second KIX Continental Symposium on Education Research in Africa. And we also have the theme, which is strengthening data generation and analysis for resilient, inclusive, and better performing education systems in Africa. The dates, as I said earlier, is between 3rd and 5th of October. Location is Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire. Please scroll down. And the venue, please forgive me, I'm not able to pronounce that venue, but that is the venue. And then I'll just go through the general guidelines for the presenters. Yes, scroll down, please. Thank you. So maybe just to be clear, the submission deadline. So presenters are required to submit their presentation slides or a digital copy of your poster for review latest by Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. So that is tomorrow, just to be sure. So we're expecting that at least by tomorrow, end of day tomorrow, all of us will have submitted our presentations. And then the document to be submitted to kixikba@unesco.org and program KIX@francophonie.org. As you are aware, we are 2 hubs handling this symposium. So it will be good to submit to both. And then we go into the session formats. So you are either accepted as a plenary presenter, as a breakaway presenter, or as a poster presenter. So for the plenary session, we expect that each presenter will be slotted at least between 12 and 15 minutes of presentation. And then after all the presentations are made, the audience members will be given an opportunity to ask questions, and presenters will be expected to answer their questions. So again, during the plenary sessions, we're expecting the moderator to be the one to set the pace, especially for the discussion. So even as a plenary session moderator, it will be critical, let me put it that way, for you to be able to listen keenly, synthesize what is being discussed, summarize within those minutes that you will also be listening, and then give it back to the participants after the discussion, just a quick summary of what has been discussed, and then you set the pace for the discussion after. So plenary presenters, again, will give an oral PowerPoint or a presified presentation. And please just scroll down. And then we'll be looking at the guidelines for that. So we have the general guideline for the format because either be it in a plenary or in a breakaway session, we're expecting you to have at most 15 minutes as a presenter. The other time is allocated for discussion. So we're expecting that you'll have a PowerPoint presentation, and we're expecting that you'll have at least 8 to 10 slides. Last year we had difficulty, especially with time, because some of us had 15 or 20 slides, which makes it very difficult for us and for you, because at some point when time is up, we will have to stop you. So to avoid us stopping you and to avoid you not presenting everything that you need to present, we request you to at least stick to the 8 to 10 slides rule. That is manageable within the 15 minutes. We expect that you will include the presenter's name, the title, and institution affiliation. For example, if it is Yvonne Boyer, I would say the presenter is Yvonne Boyer, a research consultant from UNESCO ICBA, Kenya, or Addis Ababa, and then your email address. The email address is so that for those who will have questions, then they can reach you easily. We'll be sharing these PowerPoint presentations with everybody at the symposium. So should we have questions, we want to be able to reach you. And then you can also include, but not mandatory, you can include the names of the affiliated authors, include the title of your presentation, just as you have put it in your submission. Then you are ideally, so the 8 slides, this is how we are looking at it. The first one, of course, you'll put the title and all those, your name, your institution, your country, your email address. And then at least for the second slide, we expect you to give us the context of your study, and what is the current educational data situation like? Just a summary. It's basically a summary of that study, like you're putting your abstract into a slide. And a slide, as you know, a maximum of 7 lines. So let us also not have those slides congested so that people cannot even read. And yourself, sometimes even the presenter sometimes cannot read what is in there. And then for the second slide, we expect to see the challenge. So what is the challenge? What is the problem that you are addressing? Again, what is the evidence? What is evidence that exists that shows that there's a challenge? At which level does the problem exist? Is it at a school level? Is it at curriculum level? Is it at a policy level? And then who is affected? So that's the second slide. And then for the third slide, we expect you to tell us now your intervention. So what have you done? How exactly have you gone about this? Did you do focus group discussions? Did you do an analytical research? What exactly did you do to get the data that you are presenting? Was it, for example, was it an action research in a classroom for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? And what data is coming out of this? So we also need you to be very clear on your intervention or your innovation, okay? And then at which level did you address this? Was it at school level? Was it at policy level? And then we'll expect you to, Miriam, you have confused me now. Please go down. Sorry, you need to go up. Okay, so then your intervention, then you need to give us your findings. And then you'll need to give us the policy implication. So at the end of it, our target is the policy actors, or we're targeting policy change at country level. So you have done this study, you have gotten this, you've shared with us the methodology, how you went about it, you've shared with us your findings. So then you need to tell us, very critical, you need to tell us the policy implication. So what does it mean to the policy makers? What are your recommendations? What changes need to be done? So that one, please do not leave it out. And then the final slide will be on your conclusion. Okay, so that is the final slide will be on your conclusion.
Sorry, Yvonne, it came like this on 2 sides, so I should go to the right. I didn't realize it would do that. I was looking for the right page.
No, it's okay. I think this way is fine because now they can see. The first one is like I say, the context. Then what is the challenge or your statement of the problem? Then what is your innovation? And then we need to know what are your findings, what are your policy recommendations, and then your conclusion. So conclusion is the last slide. So this way is even easier. You can be able to tell the 8 slides that you are talking about. So please, and then include. Okay, so the text size, we are talking about 28, and the reason why we are saying that it should not be smaller than 28 is so that it is visible. Like I said, sometimes even the presenter is unable to see what they're presenting, and it becomes a problem. So you should be able to read your text, and also the people in the room should be able to read your text. So the text size should not be smaller than 28. And we are saying, use your wisdom to make sure that the text is clear and readable from many feet away. So again, the submission, we expect you to submit this by tomorrow through the email addresses that have been provided. Okay, so, and then can we proceed? Okay, so for the poster presentation, I see a question, I will get to it. So presenters can prepare the posters on a digital program of their choice, include the presenter's name, title, institution, just like we did with the breakaway session presentation, and then include the title, of course, as it was written in your submission. And then we expect you to at least give the first one. It should be a summary in your poster. We need a summary of your research or of your project, and summarize the research context or the research issue. And then with the breakaway session, we expect you to tell us what was your methodology. How did you go about this? Who are you targeting? And then we'll expect you to give us an analysis of the results, an analysis and results. So your summary, your methodology, analysis and results, and then if possible, it will be good to have, because posters are visual, we expect that at least you will have images, graphic, diagrams, photos, those that are captivating, that tell a story or that tell your story that you want to tell to the world. And after that, we'll expect that at least you will have a conclusion for that. So that is, in summary, what we have written all this, but in summary, that is what we expect, how we expect it to be. Summary of your research or of your project, then your methodology, and then the findings and the discussions, and then the illustrations and conclusion. And of course, do not forget the policy recommendations. The whole idea is that we want to be able to provide evidence for policymakers or policy actors to be able to take away something that they can contextualize and that they can use to improve the education systems. So the policy recommendations are key. Next, Miriam. So title, the text size we should be able to read it 10 feet away. Like I say, we're expecting at least 200 people. So at any one point, on day one, we will have at least 20 posters. On day two, we will have 20 posters. So assuming that these 200 people are divided equally, at any one point, you will have 10 people that you will need to address. So the posters we should be able to see them from at least 10 feet away. That is the title. And then the body text should be large enough to be read at least 6 feet away. Include at least one clearly labeled data visualization. I think I've already talked about that. They are visual. We need to be able to see even as you explain. And then you must, this is a question that was raised actually in the chat room. The presenters must print and bring their own posters to the event. The presenters will not be reimbursed for the printing cost of the posters. But you are welcome to go with the poster after. But we're expecting you to print them and bring them. What we will provide is the poster stands. But for the poster, we expect you to print. And then the minimum size can be, Madam, this is 500 watts by 250.
I think it's
should be width and height.
pixels.
Oh, pixels. So 500 and width and 250 in height. The extension should be on a JPEG or PNG. And the image of the poster should be submitted by email. This KIX, ICBA, and at unesco.org, and program at KIX Francophonie by tomorrow as well, end of day tomorrow. So papers with multiple authors, we expect that you will only send to us one presenter. This is because we're trying to include as many people as possible, as many presenters as possible at the symposium. So the space is limited, and we really would appreciate if you can only send one presenter to represent you. If you have two papers that have been approved or that have been accepted, unless the presentation times are different, or rather are the same, like all of the papers are being presented at 11 o'clock, then maybe you can have two. But please, as long as the timings, even if there are two accepted papers, the timings are different, we will expect you to only send one representative. Okay. Then, Miran, I think that is all. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it, Yvonne. Maybe we can take some questions about these guidelines and about the program.
Yeah, I've seen one that speaks to paper size, A4, A3, or A. Gabriel, maybe you can guide us better here.
Hi, Ivan. Sorry, could you repeat that?
Hello, sorry, Gabriel. I was saying there's a question that we need to give the direction on poster size, depending on whether it is A1, A2, A3, or a clear dimension as opposed to the pixels. Could you guide us on that? Thank you. Sorry, I was
see.
mute.
No worries. Thank you for clarifying, Ivan. The dimensions, I believe, should be A1, but I will double check and respond in the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Miriam, over to you. I saw a hand earlier.
Yes. More questions?
I did see a hand earlier. I'm not seeing it anymore, but
There's one from Dennis and from Anjali in the chat box. I think from Raviro as well. Okay, Yvonne, were you saying something? I don't know if my internet is cutting out, but were you addressing those questions or would you like me to?
Miriam, please go ahead.
Okay, I thought I saw a hand up from Anjali right now. Anjali, do you have your hand up?
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. So just stating my question again that I already posted on the chat box. Just wanted to know, just in case we want to make a few changes, post we submit our presentation tomorrow, how much is it possible?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. So it will be possible to make a couple of changes in the last week. So throughout next week as well. We are reviewing your posters and your presentations very quickly this week. We're going to give some quick feedback about whether you are addressing those key questions that were in the guidelines. And for example, whether or not you've gone too much into detail about the context, but not enough about the policy recommendations, which is pretty common. We've seen that. And we'll also give guidelines about whether you have too many slides or even too few slides, whether you have any data visualization or not. We're very much encouraging visuals. And then for the posters, we'll give a good eye to the text size and to all those elements that would make the poster look visible from a distance and also engaging. So we will give you this feedback by the end of this week, given that you submit your poster or your presentation by tomorrow, by Tuesday. So the earlier ones, I think this was also Raviro's question in the chat box posted, what about her feedback, their feedback? If you've already submitted or if you submit by tomorrow, we will give you priority status and giving you feedback by the end of this week. And then the feedback will be usually you'll have some time then to accommodate that and to make a couple of corrections and then to send us your final version by the next week, maybe by probably Wednesday of the final week. So that next Wednesday. So then you can accommodate a few more changes by probably by the latest date of September 27th. That's going to be the cutoff because then we need at least 3 days to compile the final presentations into a master slide deck, from which point it becomes very hard to change anything. We have to look at big files and with 75 or 80 slides and then make changes to PDF files and send to multiple people. So there will be a cutoff date for any final changes, probably on September 27th of next week. But you will have a little chance, if you submit your poster early, to make some final additions or corrections. But something that we definitely cannot accommodate is on the symposium days or the night before, when we have presenters who want to make additional changes. That happened a few times last year. It became very difficult. A presenter or two might come to us with a USB with some final changes, and their session is in 1 hour, and they want to use a new presentation. And it becomes hard because then we've already sent their presentation a week earlier to the online attendees, to the moderators of that session, into multiple places. So that we definitely cannot do. But as I said, until probably the 27th of September next week, next Wednesday, we can accommodate any additional information or changes. I hope that's clear, Anjali, and anyone else who might have this question.
This is very clear. Thank you so much for being considerate and accommodative about that. Thanks.
Of course, of course. I see a question from Dennis in the chat box. Dennis Chialo from Taro, Teaching at the Right Level. He's asking, will KIX publish the papers somewhere, say the abstract of the papers? So Yvonne, would you like to talk about the book of abstracts that you're working on, or would you like me to take this?
Thank you, Marianne. So for the abstract, we're already working on a book of abstracts where we will include all your abstracts as they are, without any review. So this will be available to you during the symposium, and we'll also post it in our various websites. That includes UNESCO website. We also have a website for the symposium, which Gabriel showed us earlier, and we are hoping also that we can publish with the IDRC website as well. And then for the other publication, we can discuss that much later, but we're also expecting that you will be able to share with us some more palatable, let me call them that, for the public, like blogs or policy briefs after your presentations and feedback from the symposium, so that we can also be able to share this with the public. For KIX Africa 19, our goods are public goods, so we share them publicly, but we also like you to make them for public use friendly, public friendly, if I can call them that. But we'll publish the book of abstracts. Thank you, Marianne. Over to you.
Thank you, Yvonne. And there was a question by Maru in the chat box, Maru Giacomazzi, I think from Italy. He's a presenter and he's asking about the poster presentations. Do we need to have a printed out poster or can we project? So this is going to be like a hall, an exhibition type hall where there will be poster stands and you have to print your poster. Unfortunately, we don't have the digital capacity to be projecting digital posters like that throughout the hall. So we're going the normal mainstream route of having poster stands, and you are welcome to. Well, you actually are required to print out your poster and to bring it with you to Abidjan, or you can try to print it out from Abidjan. Maybe if you have any, if you have a ability to speak French, or if you have a contact there. But at least for us, we are working out of Ethiopia, and we are recommending, at least even for our own work, that we try to get as much done as we can from our home country, our base, and then come prepared to Abidjan ahead of time. So you have to print out your poster. We will not have a digital display, but we will provide you, as Yvonne said, with a poster board. And these are actually quite interesting and dynamic sessions. So in no way does it mean that you don't have as high of status as others if you don't have a breakaway room or a plenary. The posters are actually sometimes the most interesting part of the entire day because it's a lot more human sometimes to stand right next to the presenter and talk to them and engage in a back and forth discussion about research findings and people's experiences in a dynamic back and forth way, rather than in a highly stylized and formal way when where there's a distance between the presenters and the listeners. So we're actually looking forward to the posters, and we have high hopes for excellent posters because there are some excellent titles for the posters. And so that's a bit about the posters. And the names of presentations are listed on the agenda, and you will also be included in the abstract book. So you are equal status as a researcher if you are presenting a poster. In fact, in some ways, it can even elevate your research skills because it's a dynamic discussion in which you'll have to explain your methodology and really think through what you've done for different types of audience members who will come to speak with you. I want to say that there will not be translation for posters. So if you are English speaking in English, you may have people who speak French coming by your stand. We will not have an interpreter there to help you to explain to them. Unfortunately, we don't have that capacity. So you may not be able to fully engage with them, and that's probably to be expected. So unfortunately, we can't really get around that very well. Unless you want to somehow put your poster in both languages, that would be welcome. Otherwise, you're not expected to. So there will not be interpretation for languages for posters. I hope that's clear. Let me see if there are any more questions before we move to the travel guidelines. Are there any hands up? I see Yosef Malaku. Would you like to ask your question?
Thanks so much. Thank you, Marianne. I'm very happy for the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm very happy for the opportunity, but only one question. As a novice appearing such a big symposium with my research, I prefer to appear with PPTs that I'm familiar with than the poster ones, if possible. Otherwise, I'll try my best. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Yosef, and good to see you. Good to see you here. Thanks for taking the time. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to make session type changes to the program because we've already emailed everyone with those spots. So it would mean that somebody else would have to agree to change from a PowerPoint to a poster. And unless somebody wants to volunteer in this forum right now, I'm not sure if we would be able to easily do that. But we have a lot of faith in everybody who's been accepted, because on the strength of your research, on the strength of the quality of your writing, you've been accepted. So everyone here is very capable of putting together an excellent presentation, whether it be in a PowerPoint or a poster. So it was very hard to select people, actually, because we had a lot of excellent submissions this year, and we had to turn down many, many good ones. So just by being accepted, we have full faith that you'll be able to do a wonderful job. Now, we have these guidelines for you, Yosef, but we can also work with you. I'm happy to look at a rough draft of your poster and then to give you some feedback on it so you can structure it a little bit better or differently. And if you want, we can even have a short 15-minute meeting in which you show me and I can help you to maybe structure some things a little differently if you're having some trouble with how to make a poster for the first time. Please let me know. I'm happy to do that, and send us whatever you have tomorrow, even if it's just a blank white page with your title and your text on it, and we can give you some suggestions for how to make it look more appealing like a poster. And in the meantime, I would suggest that you please try to identify a place. Are you in Addis Ababa?
Yes, I'm Petros from Ethiopia. I'm a Ministry of Education.
Yes, yes, exactly. Thank you, Petros. You might want to identify a place right now that will print your poster, and maybe establish a contact over there, and maybe get a price for yourself. And that way you can quickly contact them when you do create your poster, so that it saves time. And again, we'll work with you and we'll help you. So just be aware that you do have some options. Unfortunately, though, we may not be able to change it to a PowerPoint because the program is very full, and we have a lot of excellent presentations lined up that are already selected for those sessions. Unless somebody wants to volunteer a change and change from their PowerPoint to poster, we wouldn't be able to change it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I see a hand up. Sorry, it went away. 1 second. Tuamania from UNESCO IIEP, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much, Marian. So I have a question on the languages that we can use during the presentations. So I'm going to have a presentation with 2 other colleagues in the same breakaway session, and we submitted our proposals in English. Now I wanted to know if there was a possibility for us to use a different language in the presentations from the one that we used for the proposals. And if so, what kind of language representation you expected for in the audience? Would there be more francophones or anglophones? Can we use a mix of languages, for example, 2 people presenting in French and 1 in English, just to make sure that we engage with the audience effectively? Thank you.
That's an excellent question. That's perfectly fine. And all of our presentations are trying to be engaging of people from both languages. So that's fine. If you have a mixed language ability group and you're okay with that, that's all right. If you have already submitted your abstract in English, you may want to consider submitting one in French as well, so that we can accommodate people from both sides in the abstract book, if you have that ability. Otherwise, you're welcome to change the language and engage people from both sides and from both hubs. I hope that's clear.
Yes, it was. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. And I see a hand up from Angela. Hello, Angela.
Hi. Hi, Marianne. I wanted to know, we're working with 6 of the KIX data funded research projects, and one of our outputs is a policy brief. And I have been urging my team to kind of aim towards the deadline of the data symposium. And I think I have written one mail asking, I think it was at least 2 months ago, asking if we could share those policy briefs. It's basically the findings and the policy implications of those 6 data research. So there are 6 individual policy briefs. At this stage, a mixture of English and French. Not all of them will be bilingual. What would be the procedure for getting permission to do that? To share those policy briefs, just, I suppose, at entrances to the hall or something like that.
Right. Angela, that's a great question. We've actually had another couple of requests for presenters to share some of their work. If you could send us whatever you have to share, or even a description of it in an email all together, maybe with the multiple ones, or just the one that you want that is priority, let me take that back and then ask my team. We need to make sure that we have some space and that there's not an overrepresentation of English handouts, but not French handouts, because we want to include everybody. And sometimes it can look as if one hub is getting more table space or more visibility than the other. But we can look into that for you. And the same goes for anybody else who has already messaged me in this chat today or emailed me about wanting to pass out handouts or brochures or briefs. Please email that to us in a request. We have to check and get back to you once we check for visibility and equity between the two hubs. Thank you. Okay, there is a point in the chat box from Yvonne. Yvonne, there's been something about the poster size. Would you like to weigh in on this? I haven't been following the chat box and the conversation very well on the poster size.
Thank you, Marianne. So I just posted the dimensions. We're expecting it to be A0. And in the poster, I've also given, in the chart, I've given the specific centimeters. That is 118.9 centimeters by 84.1 centimeters, and it has to be in portrait. If you put it in landscape, it will be longer than the board that we have. So it has to be in portrait with these dimensions. I hope that is clear.
We will update the guidelines with this information about the poster size, and we will re-email them to everyone today.
So Marianne, maybe you should move to the travel guide. I think I've seen a couple of questions concerning travel.
Yes, and there was just one last point about in-person versus virtual. If you are presenting a poster, you definitely, even for PowerPoints, we really are asking everyone to be present in person to present. If you have a PowerPoint, there's a little flexibility. If you, for some reason, have an emergency or something that takes you away, that you cannot be at the symposium in person. But if you have a poster, then there is no other way. You need to be physically present for your poster. Even for PowerPoints, we are highly recommending that presenters come in person to Abidjan, because we never know about the technology situation. You could be all prepared to join virtually, and then we may have an issue with connectivity. It's just a reality of working. So we wouldn't want that to hinder your engagement. But we understand if you cannot come, if there's some reason, you can email us, but we do try to get everyone to come together in person. It's more engaging that way for both presenters and for participants. Now, if there are no more questions about the guidelines, I will move to some travel guidelines, which are, I know, everyone's hot topic. There's a lot of questions, and understandably so. So just give me one moment and I'll pull up the travel guidelines, please. Okay, everyone, I hope you can see my screen clearly.
I can see. It's clear.
Okay, great. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to go over the travel guidelines. I know that there are a lot of questions, so I would ask you to please listen first, and you might want to follow along in your own travel guide that we have sent you. And then at the end, we can ask our questions. So I'll try to focus on the topics that are receiving the most questions from everyone. So this is the guide, and there are different sections of the guide. Let's go over the sections without looking at them all. So first of all, there's a quick links section. Section begins on page 3. And then there's a registration link. If you have not registered yet, you have to register immediately because we have to get a final number of participants who are coming for the catering and for just the venue hall. Then there's a section on who is invited and who is being sponsored, what the visa process is like, the flights, hotel accommodation, health protocols, arrival and transportation to the hotel, the conference venue, transportation to and from the conference, what to do when you're in Abidjan, then our contact information as conference organizers, and then emergency contact information. So this first page here, sorry, it's a little hard to share when it's like this. Okay, so this first page here, the quick links, this is really key for you. We encourage you to check this because this is like a summary page of where to go for key information. The registration link is listed first. Most of you have already registered, but if you have not yet, please do so today so that we can get a total number of participants who are joining us in person. Secondly, there's a WhatsApp group for everyone to join if you want to. This is a group that is going to be staffed by English language speakers, the symposium organizers. And we do ask that you keep this group for symposium and related educational content only. So no forwards, no political news, keep it limited to the symposium. It's usually quite helpful for people when they're arriving and they're looking for maybe a taxi or directions, or maybe when lunch begins during the program, if they've forgotten what time they have to be somewhere. It's a great place to check in for ongoing updates about the symposium. And you can always leave it later on, or you can stay on. We will not delete the group. We will keep the group and for any further connecting between people or networking. Our email address is listed here, kix.icba@unesco.org. And we are the ones staffing it, so we speak primarily in English. So we ask that if you are speaking a question in French, if you are directing it to the other hub, that you use the program Francophonie email address that's listed later on. This is our webpage, as Gabriel shared before. You can go here for the program and for the digital Zoom links. There's also the Zoom link here for the overall program. If you're joining online, this is the place to join. Then here's the official Ivorian visa application website. There are many scam websites and places that are third-party websites that we don't want you to go to apply for your visa. This is the only website that you can go to safely and officially apply for your visa without any issues or possible issues with your credit card or your debit card. This is the Pullman Hotel where all of the sponsored participants will be staying at, and our recommendation for non-sponsored participants. But this guidebook also includes a list of other hotels that are recommended by the organizers that you can choose according to your budget if you are a regular participant. Then we have I'm going to attempt to say it, the Cree Amoa Conference Venue Hall. This is their webpage. In case you need directions or you want to see what the rooms look like for your presentation, you can go to this website. And then the Abidjan International Airport website is listed here. This is maybe for any possible updates. Otherwise, we would update you if there's maybe a change to your flight that we are alerted to by our travel agent if you're a sponsored participant. But you can go to this webpage for more information. We don't need to spend any time here on registration. You have already registered, most of you. So as you know that we'll be welcoming more than 200 people from ministries, local education groups, universities, and development and multilateral organizations from or present in 39 countries across multiple regions of sub-Saharan Africa. Some participants, a very limited amount, can be covered by the organizing committee. These are usually people who are not funded by other organizations. If you are a KIX grantee, so if you are already receiving GPE KIX funds in some way, or if you are from outside of our hub countries, or for other reasons, we may not be able, we cannot organize sponsorships for everybody. It's just simply is not possible in our budget. But there is no fee to participate in the symposium itself. That is unlike other ones like CIES every year in the US. That's another big conference. You have to pay for that one. We don't have any charge at this symposium. Again, you have to pay for your own posters, even if you are sponsored. We cannot pay for these types of out-of-pocket expenses. For sponsored participants, so some of the people here today are sponsored and some of you are not sponsored. If you are sponsored, your round-trip flight ticket, your hotel room, and your transportation to the conference venue, your airport shuttle and your DSA are being covered by the organizing committee. And these are very few spots, and we don't have any more of them left, unfortunately. You have to pay for your own visa, whether you are sponsored or non-sponsored. If you are sponsored, you will get reimbursed later. So you have to have your own card, you have to pay for your own visa or your own e-visa online. If you are sponsored, you have to bring the receipt from your visa application and your boarding pass with you to the conference venue in order to get reimbursed for that expense. So again, you have to save and bring your visa receipt printed out and keep your original boarding pass for proof of travel under our funds in order to be reimbursed for your visa fees. If you are sponsored, you have to go through some additional documents and requirements in order to receive a DSA. In order to receive your DSA, you have to email us in advance 2 documents: your signed travel statement, we've sent you a form, and a release letter from your ministry or your organization that gives you permission to travel. You can only get a DSA if you have emailed us these 2 documents. Please send them together in the same email, not 2 separate emails, because things can get lost if there are too many emails. Please bring printed copies of these documents with you. Again, this is if you are sponsored and you are receiving a DSA, you have to have these 2 documents printed and emailed to us. Now, the visa process, this is very important for everyone because we're getting a lot of questions about it. Regardless of your need for a visa, you need to have a passport that's valid for a minimum of 6 months from the date of your entry into Cote d'Ivoire. So it has to expire, I think it's March or April something of next year, 2024. You cannot travel in any way if you have a passport that's expiring in the next, before 6 months, or obviously if your passport is expired. So some people we are aware that are facing this challenge right now. You need to quickly renew your passport. There is no exceptions to this requirement. If you need us to send you the visa invitation letter sooner for you to have your passport, we've already aware of that, and we're working on that very quickly to get you your letter so you can renew your passport. If you cannot renew your passport in time, then you'll have to join online virtually. There just isn't any other way around it. Most of you will require a visa to enter Abidjan. There are some exceptions to this, which we'll talk about in a moment. Now, to apply for a visa, you have to have your passport with 6 months validity. You need to have a yellow fever vaccination card or certificate. You have to have this with you when you enter the airport and have preferably a digital copy of it as a backup. Maybe take a scan of it and keep it as a file in your phone for a backup. You should present your flight document with dates of entry and exit of the country in order to apply for the visa. Our team is sending the sponsored participants your flight details this week in the next few days. So we will be booking your flight for you if you are sponsored, and you will get your flight details, and you have to upload that into the system when you apply for your visa. You need to have a letter of invitation. This can replace the hotel reservation. You are being invited by UNESCO ICBA. That is your proof that you will be coming and staying for these dates in the city. So where it says that you have to upload a reservation, you can upload that document instead, the letter of invitation. We have already been issuing them, but if you have not received your letter yet, you will be receiving a letter. Everyone will get a letter, both sponsored and non-sponsored participants, but only sponsored participants will receive the flight reservation from us. And again, no one will receive the yellow fever vaccination reimbursement. We cannot reimburse you for that fee. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And finally, you have to have a debit or a credit card to pay for the visa fees. The visa is estimated to cost 73 euros or $78. You have to pay for this with your debit or your credit card online. If you are a sponsored participant, we will pay you back for that amount when you are in Abidjan, but you have to bring your visa receipt with you. Now, we are recommending that you consult your own embassy.
Yeah, they said you want to tell me, wait, you did your best?
Sorry, I just had to mute someone. We're recommending that you check the rules on the official website with your embassy, because there could be some country-specific visa application procedures. Like, for example, we know that in Ethiopia, they have a particular form that they are asking people to use. It might help to organize and to expedite the application process. And for those of you here that are joining from Ethiopia, we'll be sending you something about that today. So again, you have to check to see if there's anything additional or different that relates to your own country. Some of you may not need a visa. If you are from these countries listed here, you should not need a visa. So some of our countries here listed are the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone. These are our countries. However, please don't take this travel booklet as the only voice here. You should verify this information on the website. Please check this because things could change and we may not have the most up-to-date information despite our best efforts.
Context of my study.
Okay, we'll go quickly then through the visa. Over here on the right side, when you enter Cote d'Ivoire, you need to have a couple of things with you. You have to have your original receipt for your visa fee, so what you paid. You need to have the pre-approval document from the authorities in Abidjan that shows that you have received approval for the e-visa. Of course, a passport that's valid for a minimum of 6 months, and your vaccine against yellow fever, your certificate for that. In the next few days, when you receive your invitation letter and your flight, if you're sponsored, you'll be able to go online and apply for your visa. Again, this is the only website you can go to. Please don't go to any others. Do not Google visa Cote d'Ivoire, because it may take you to a third-party website where we can't control what happens if you pay there and don't get a visa. When you go to this website, at the top, click on the flag of the UK, the United Kingdom, to translate the page into English. If it's taking too long, refresh your browser or close the tab and then reopen it. Okay. Flights, we encourage you to be in Abidjan by October 2nd, the day before, and then to stay throughout the day on October 5th and fly either at nighttime on the 5th or else the 6th the next day. We want everyone to be able to engage in the program for those full 3 days if you're able to. If you are sponsored, we are covering your flight for you, and you have to bring your boarding pass with you for proof of travel that you have flown on our ticket. If you are a regular participant, you need to book your own flight to Abidjan. There's no limits to how much money you can bring into the country, but you need to read this section if you are planning on bringing maybe a large amount. Hotel accommodations, again, if you're sponsored, we will make your reservation for you at the Pullman Hotel. Your hotel room includes room and breakfast, and we are organizing an airport shuttle to and from the hotel to the airport. We will be communicating this to you. We've just now today gotten information on the shuttle. So I want to just email you about this later on when we have some more information about the shuttle. But there will be a shuttle, we have to first book your flight so that they know what time to pick you up at the airport. Sorry about that. If you are not sponsored, you have to check to see if your own hotel will offer a shuttle. On the right here, these are the hotels that we are recommending that you check out first if you are booking your hotel yourself. So the Pullman is the first option. That is the one that everyone is staying at who is sponsored, but it's not necessary to stay there. You can stay anywhere that you like in Abidjan. And the second one is listed here. The third and fourth and fifth options are listed here. And again, you can choose any one that you like or other ones that are not on this list. Now, vaccinations are very important. You need to have a yellow fever vaccine to enter the airport, to enter Abidjan. Unless you already have a valid, up-to-date yellow fever vaccination card, then you need to get one. And we strongly recommend that you get one right now, at least 10 days before your travel, so that you allow yourself to maybe recover if you have any side effects. And also, it's been said to be strongly recommended by the authorities as well to have it before you travel. So please bring your receipt and your payment for this vaccine in case you need to have it with you. But we will not be able to pay you back for it, but we recommend that you just keep your documents together in one place, that you paid for it, the day that you got it, and of course the certification itself. You do not need to have a COVID vaccination scheme or a test before coming to Abidjan. You are requested to wear a mask at the symposium and to sanitize and to wash your hands often, and also to do the same during your flight as well, so that you stay healthy and well and keep others healthy and well while you're traveling and participating. This is the address for the hotel, the Pullman Hotel, for those of you that are staying there, and this is the address for the airport. The Pullman Hotel is going to have an airport shuttle for sponsored participants and probably non-sponsored as well. If you're paying for your own, if you're going to the Pullman, you may be able to get an airport shuttle, but we can't guarantee that. And please confirm with your own hotel whether you have an airport shuttle. We are not based in Abidjan, so we don't always know the cultures there for hotels and working cultures. So we can't guarantee that there's going to be a shuttle at all the hotels in Abidjan. So please check on your own if there's an airport shuttle. And if not, you could get a taxi, or you could ask the airport staff for assistance in hiring a taxi. And when you leave Côte d'Ivoire to go back to on the airport, if you're taking a shuttle, you need to be present for your shuttle at least 45 minutes to an hour before the shuttle departs, so that you don't slow anyone else down or possibly miss your timing. Sorry, I should have said 45 minutes to an hour before you need to arrive at the hotel, not before the shuttle departs. Please be on time at the airport when you leave Abidjan, or when you arrive to fly to Abidjan. We will not be able to book a new flight for you if you're sponsored, or help you if you're not sponsored, if you miss your flight due to your own timing reasons. Okay, we're going to be done soon. This is the address for the Cré Imoa conference venue. And again, you can check here if you want to see what the rooms look like. Registration starts at 8 o'clock on all 3 days. You don't have to be present at 8 o'clock exactly, but by 8:30, we are going to be beginning. I know it's a little bit early, but these are full days, and we want you to be able to get the most out of them. So we're encouraging you to come as soon as possible on the earliest shuttle or the earliest that you can get there, and then to spend your time well, to be there on time. We will begin on time, even if not everyone has arrived yet. We will begin on time. Now, transportation to and from the conference venue. It's not too far away from the Pullman Hotel and maybe some of the other hotels. It might be a walking distance. We are able to organize a van for sponsored participants to get to the conference venue. But unfortunately, we can't offer this to everybody because of limited budget and logistics. So please plan accordingly and please check to see where your hotel is located from the Pullman so you can travel there with enough time. Okay, we're almost done. This is information just on how to get around Abidjan. We don't need to go over this right now because it's really personal. Some of this may apply or may not apply to you. The only thing I want to spend some time on is the language. French is the official language. English may only be spoken by some people at your hotel, possibly, and maybe at the airport. But we don't expect there to be a lot of English to be used in Côte d'Ivoire. So it's good to have a couple of French phrases, maybe 5 or 10 of them written down for yourself, and to practice them ahead of time so you can get to know a little basics about how to get around, maybe to ask for a taxi, to ask for the rate. And it's also helpful to use Google Translate. We use it all the time, actually, at KIX, in the KIX program. So it's a basic Google Translate just on your phone. But when you're using it, please be careful not to have your phone out and on display on the street or in a very conspicuous way, because we want you to be careful for your personal belongings. But you could use Google Translate to help you to say phrases and then repeat them back to people, or listen to what others are saying and then translate it for yourself. These are 2 YouTube channel links here that have some useful phrases for getting around in a new place. The time zone is UTC, so Universal Coordinated Time, 0. So it's on UTC. For reference, in Ethiopia, we are UTC +3. So we are 3 hours ahead of this time zone. So please make sure that you are using this time zone when you arrive in Abidjan, that you set your clocks, your alarm clock, your watches, your phone to this time zone. And all timings mentioned in the program are in this time zone. Let me stop there. I know that there's more things, but you can see them on your own. Those were the most important things, is the yellow fever vaccination, the flight, the hotel, and the visa. Let me see if there are any questions in the chat box.
So Miriam, there's a question about online registration. We did share a link for people to register. So the question is, the fact that they registered using that link by 10th, is it automatic that they are sponsored?
Yes, if they receive an email from us saying that they are accepted for sponsorship, it's written in that email. And if they registered at that link, then they're included in on that list. It's automatic. There are 2 links. One link is for sponsored, one is for not sponsored. We have received almost all of the sponsored participants' registration. We're still waiting on a few non-sponsored. So I can check the name. Is it Megan in the chat box? I think I see the question. I can check that particular name in the list of sponsored, but yes, if you received a link to register, and if you received the email saying that you are sponsored, then that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything additional. However, you do have to send us those 2 travel documents, your travel statement and your letter from your ministry or your organization in order to receive your DSA. This is just a rule from the local UNESCO office that you have to show those to receive any cash when you're in Abidjan. I'm looking for some more questions. Okay, there's a question from Maru. about the presentation guidelines. I think, Maru, what happened was that there was somebody else who submitted on your behalf, and we sent the guidelines to that individual, but I can email them to you. I have your registration email, and I can send you the guidelines for the posters. There's a question from Eric. Yes, we'll share the recording. Don't worry about that. And we can also, if you have any specific questions, you can also ask us and we'll get back to you. We're monitoring our email about flight questions.
Yes. Why she's not
Okay, there's another question about the flight. If you are sponsored, that means if we are covering you, which apologies, but we can't do that for everybody. We can only do that for some people. If we are sponsoring you, then we will contact you about your flight this week. And then you can apply for your visa with the flight information.
There is a way they catch, then you talk.
Yeah, you know, you can raise your hand. Let's consider your hand. She's not sure.
Visa on arrival, a question from Petros. No, we don't know anything about visa on arrival. We are working with the government as well and of Cote d'Ivoire, and we have been told that this is the process, that you have to pay for your visa before you arrive and bring that visa receipt with you, as well as the approval for your visa that you receive via email. So we don't know of any way to pay on arrival. You have to follow the guidelines here. Raviro has a question. Raviro, you're saying you don't have a travel document. What do you mean by this? Are you talking about a passport? Or
Hello,
maybe an
Marianne.
invitation letter? Hello, Raviro?
Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, I can
Hello?
hear you. Yes, go ahead.
All right. On number 4 on sponsored participant, you stated that point 1, your signed travel statement, you used the form already emailed to you. I haven't received that form.
Okay, so you're saying that you need to receive the travel statement form. No problem, let us send that to you. If you are sponsored, then that means that you're going to receive a DSA when you're in Abidjan, but that you have to send us these 2 documents first. So let me follow up with you. I'll send you an email about this after this meeting.
All right, thank you.
Okay, there's another question about visa at the airport. Unfortunately, it's not possible. Tasada, do you have your hand up? Professor Tasada Joseph?
Hello, Marianne. Hello.
Yes.
Is it possible for me to get the visa at the airport? Then I come with my money, I pay in the airport.
So Professor Tasada, to our knowledge, we don't think that's possible. We don't think that's possible. We have not gotten any information from the government on that. We had a meeting with them and they said that this is the process. So the guidelines that you see here are approved by the government, that you have to apply ahead of time. We can't guarantee that there's
if
any.
If I need the visa, what is the procedure from South Sudan? Can you brief me?
So from South Sudan, I don't know if there are any country-specific guidelines, but what we're advising everyone to do is to go to this website. You can see on the right side, this screenshot. This is the website.
Okay.
You can change the language at the top here, this red arrow, change the language to English so you can read it.
It bring English,
then,
I know it.
Yes, and then over here, there's a procedure. There's a list of procedures. We've also put them up here
Yeah,
too. On the right, on the
yeah.
left here, you can see the procedures. You have to
Mm-hmm.
upload a copy of these documents, your passport,
Mm-hmm.
your flight document, that's your flight reservation,
Mm-hmm.
and then your letter of
Mm-hmm.
invitation that we're sending you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then
So we're recommending
this
that
is
you follow these steps.
I will go through this step, the one you send, then I click in the where there is the arrow, then I follow the procedures, then I fill them, then I send it back for you.
Yes, you should be getting an email from the Ivorian authorities that tells you that you are accepted, that your visa has been approved. And
Which
please
authorities?
keep that.
Which authorities exactly? Ethiopia Airlines?
No, the authorities in Cote d'Ivoire will be the ones who email you your visa.
Okay. You know, they gave me a certain number. I tried to call and I was not able to go through. This is the problem I'm facing now, Marianne.
Okay. Who did you get the number from?
You say?
Did you get the number from Ethiopian Airlines?
Ethiopia Airlines? No.
Okay, well, we don't have any phone number, but it says here at the top of this webpage that there's a phone number here. You see? I'm zooming in.
Okay,
If you
this
want
one?
to, yeah, you could try to call this number, but I don't know if they'll speak in English because you can try that. Otherwise, you can go to this flag here and click on the flag to translate the page into English, and then you can follow the steps. You go to the application steps here. It's going to help you, tell you what to do. It's going to ask you to upload your passport, your invitation letter, your flight. It's going to walk you through the steps.
Okay, I will try it tomorrow, please.
Yes, and if you have questions, you can ask us. Please send us screenshots of what you are seeing on your screen so we can see where you're stuck if you have any problems.
So, okay, fine. It means that I will try it and go to those things and apply it. Then when I get the visa, this is when I confirm my coming.
Yes, you can confirm that you receive it with us, and you can't apply until you receive your flight from us. We're going to send you the flight information this week.
Okay, fine. I will try it my best. I will go to this. I have this one. Then I will go to the click for the flag of UK. Then I will see how I can fill it.
Yes, exactly. And if you have problems, you can ask us. Send us a picture of your screen so we can help you.
Through which line? How can I get you, Marianne? It's only through email, and it doesn't answer. I need maybe a WhatsApp line where I will be in touch with you.
Use email, please. WhatsApp. I'm on the email anyways. Email is much more organized, then other people can also be included on the discussion.
Can I
It's better
send in
than
that
WhatsApp.
email? Okay, that email written, Marianne.
It's better if you send it to the other official, because in case I can't see your question in time, you see, this is the best email. You see this email address for all questions right here. KIX.ICBA
Okay, it's there.
UNESCO.
Okay, it is there in the forms, eh?
Yes, it's here on the first page under the quick links. There are 2 people checking this email, so it's better that you send your question here.
In the guidelines table.
Yes.
Can you send this one for me in my email so it will help me to do my work?
So you have already received this email, this invitation from us. You've already joined this meeting. It's the same email, the same one. We've been sending you emails on the same email.
Okay, fine. Is it the last one you sent recently today?
Yes, it's the same email we've been contacting you at. We sent you this link, this Zoom link to join today. We sent you the travel guidelines.
Okay, it is the one with the one I got recently for the Zoom. It is the one, eh?
Yes, it's the same email. So just check that email address. You can respond to that directly or use that to address further questions. It's the same email.
It's okay. I will try my best.
Yes, just try and let us know if you have questions and how to apply for the visa.
I really
Are there
need to
any other
apply for it.
questions?
No.
Let's see if others have questions.
I hope I have it. I am checking now in my email. I don't have it, but I don't know if it is there.
Good afternoon, Miriam.
Which one? Templates.
Yes, I hear someone speaking. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Miriam. This is John from Sierra Leone.
Hi, John. Good to see you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the opportunity. And here our country is a part of the ECOWAS community, and we are not expecting to present visa. And but you said we need to check to the embassy. So now we don't have a diplomatic mission here in Sierra Leone. But this afternoon I called in Guinea where they have. So I was told that there is no need for visa. All I need to have is the invitation and the flight document and also the vaccine, that yellow fever vaccine. So I think that is my question. So there is no other documents needed again. That I want to confirm. But since I called out of what I was told, and all those ones I have them already now. So that is all my concern. But thank you so much.
Yes,
can I come
John.
in, Marian? Can I come in?
Yeah, is this Bezowit?
Yes, Marian.
Yes, Beza, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as we know, for the ECOWAS member country, I think they don't need visa to get in the Cote d'Ivoire. Like Gambia and something. If it is a ECOWAS member country, they don't need visa to get in the Cote d'Ivoire.
Yes, that is it, because even our passport is the ECOWAS passport.
Yeah.
So just confirmation.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Bezowit, for confirming. I see a question. No, that's the same question as before. Colleagues, we're reaching the end of our meeting time, and I want to respect people's time because it's already getting to be evening. Does anyone have any further questions?
Hello, Marianne. Hello, Marianne.
Yes, is this Nelly?
Yes, this is Nelly. Yeah, thank you for the guidance. I'm good, Marianne. Thank you for the guidance you've given us. I'm trying to register to apply for the visa, so I believe I'll get the required documents so that I can finalize the process.
Yes, you will. We're working on this. We're doing this as a priority, and we'll get back to you very soon with more information.
Thank you.
I have a great team of people. There are 3 wonderful women who are working hard on these processes, and so you'll be getting emails from Tirsit, from Bezowit, and from Saladish. They're all in Ethiopia, and they're working hard on giving everyone the documents and the information that they need to apply for their visas and get to Cote d'Ivoire. Even if you're not sponsored, you'll still get an invitation letter and instructions for how to apply for the visa. So we hope that you just follow those guidelines. Let us know if you have additional questions, though. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marianne. I'm well guided.
Okay. So everyone, let's end the meeting today. I want to thank all of you for coming out, and I especially want to thank those who are in the East Africa time zone, because we know that it's late and it's 7 p.m. already. So that shows some real commitment that you're still here till the end. I want to thank all of my own colleagues, Yvonne and Gabriel, Bezowit, Victoria, Henok, who have been so instrumental in helping this meeting take place today. And we can't wait to see you in Abidjan. And we are looking forward to seeing your presentations or your posters starting from tomorrow. so we can give you feedback in time. With that said, thank you, and we'll follow up with some of you via email after this. And we hope to hear from many of you in the next few days, and see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Good luck. Safe travels. Bon voyage.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Safe travels.
Bye.